We got a caller on the line. We have Anna Bob. How's it going?
Hey guys, how's it going? Happy holidays.
You too, man. Thank you.
You home yet?
Yeah, actually I am. I'm home now.
All right, well, I'm sure you got home just in time to see the Bears.
Gentlemen, I will say that this has been probably the worst football team I've ever seen since following National Football League. And I'm not joking.
I'm sure the Raiders could clobber the Bears right now. Derek Carr could probably put up 40 points against this team.
I'm telling you, I think that's a good possibility.
I mean, guys, this was a team that I thought would make the postseason and possibly compete for the Super Bowl.
So did I. Yeah.
They were supposed to. They weren't supposed to be the worst team.
I had them at 11 wins.
Yeah, I think I also had them around 10, 11 wins. And to see them only winning just 5 games at this point, and possibly they might just end up being 5-11. Probably at best, what? At this point, it's 7-9, but it certainly is not looking like they're going to win 2 in a row, because Lions, they have something to play for, and the Vikings, the arrow's going up for Minnesota, but just looking at this football team, it's been really rough, and now the fact that Jay Cutler is benched, and it hasn't even been a full calendar year since he signed that mega contract. It's I don't know. As a Bears fan right now, well, okay, to be quite honest, was I a little bit happy with Cutler being benched? Maybe because he wasn't playing well. Certainly Monday night was just a disaster for him. But at the same time, if I look at it long term, if I'm Jay Cutler, I'm probably thinking, do I ever want to play for this organization again? They just best me for a guy who has a QBR of 10.4 or something around that.
And he hasn't started in the NFL since 2010.
Exactly, and that's another thing. So, if I'm a quarterback like that, I feel very, very disrespected right now. So the question is, well, of course, I know Trestman's got to go. That just goes without saying. Phil Emery definitely has to go because he should have hired Bruce Arians. And I don't know how he missed that. It's amazing that he missed such a beautiful opportunity in getting Bruce Arians, but that, again, he has to go too. And
Mark Trestman was the cheaper hire, along with his other morons on his coaching staff. They're all cheap hires that have no business in the NFL.
I 100% agree with you, Ryan. That is 100% true. And one more thing, Ted Phillips also has to go. Come on, he needs. The only good thing he could do is focus on the business side of this industry. They need to get, I like to say, a football deal. They need to get a guy who knows what it takes to build a football team that can win a Super Bowl year in, year out. And unfortunately, they don't have that guy. And that's devastating.
Yeah, it's very devastating, and I'm pretty sure after the season ends, Mark Trestman's going to be like, I don't know why we weren't winning games. Every week we had a good week of practice, and I thought we were going to win. guys were ready to play. He's going to play something like that out. Really, this message, he's trying to say the season is all Jay Cutler's fault. It's not his fault. It's not his moronic coaching staff's fault. It's not the defense's fault. It's Jay Cutler's fault, and he's going to prove that he can make a nobody into a good quarterback.
Yeah, okay, that attitude, first of all, saying that you had a good week of practice, that's absolute BS. Because if you look at the game, if you were supposed to have good practices, they should not make mental mistakes. There should not be so many false starts. There just shouldn't be things like that. These are the things you actually clear up in practices. But nope. Look, I'm a fan. You guys are fans. We see the same thing. I'm pretty sure Trestman and the coaching staff, like what they witness, and they're witnessing it live at hand. Are they just trying to trying to be ignorant about what's going on? I don't know. But what I do know is Trestman, Emery have to go. As far as the quarterback goes, well, we'll see when that time comes. You have to get let's see if we get a new regime here. Let's see if they're interested in keeping Cutler. If not, worse comes to worse. Let's keep him for 1 year first of all with that new regime. After that, they can trade him, cut him, do whatever they feel is right. But you have to right now play smart because if they don't bring Cutler back, you really can't go with Jimmy Clausen. That just cannot happen. But at the same time, sure, you might get a little better, but really, it's a coach quarterback league, And you have to be elite in both departments if you want to win. It's just as simple as that.
Right, and if you're a head coach or part of the coaching staff, you have to look at the game film, where Mark Trestman never looks at game film. All he looks at is the practice film.
Again, Trestman, he just needs to go back to CFL. I'm sorry. He cannot be in this industry.
They might not want him back after watching what he's done to the
Right,
Bears.
I'm not sure if they want him in the CFL now after the horrible train wreck that's happening in Chicago.
Then at this point, he should, I don't know, he could be like a football analyst for I don't know, the TV station anywhere, whatever. But he's not a coach in this league. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, but as far as this season goes, guys, it's an epic fail. And if I'm the owner, I seriously have to hit the reset button with my not only with my GM and coach, but the team president. Ted Phillips has just got to go. I mean, he does not know the definition of football intelligence because he doesn't have one. That's why.
No, he doesn't. And the only unfortunate part about that is that he's good friends with the McCaskey, so they're going to give him the vote of confidence, most likely, even though he deserves to either be fired or move to strictly the business side.
I mean, it's look. I know this. I know that George McCaskey hates losing to the Packers more than anything.
He must not have been watching the game in Green Bay because he didn't say anything when they were down 42-0 at halftime or fire everybody
Do we know if he was at that game?
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Do we know if he was at that game? I'm pretty sure he was, but I don't know.
I think he was because I think I heard a report from one of the Packers reporters that, there's a closed-door meeting between Phil Emery, I think Mark Trestman was in it too, and probably George McCaskey. But if I'm George McCaskey, this is what you do. You have to watch that film of Green Bay, Chicago. Just watch Aaron Rodgers laughing. That should get him motivated to start the firings that need to happen. Because, once again, guys, this is Chicago, second largest NFL market. This place needs to have a winner. Goes without, and it's just unacceptable what has happened this season. And such a disgrace. Sure, our record might be 5-11, but it certainly feels like this is an 0-16 season. It just feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Yeah. If I was the owner, I would have marched down to that locker room and fired all the coaches at halftime against Green Bay. I'd just how does that even happen? Well, I think how do Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth just not burst out laughing when saying, "Oh yeah, Green Bay's up 42-0 at halftime."
They were bashing the Bears, and they bashed them on Monday Night Football too with John Gruden and Mike Tirico.
Yeah,
I heard there was people were saying they had never heard a national telecast where someone was bashing a team like that before. The way Tirico, it was rightfully deserved.
Oh yeah,
it was rightfully deserved. Guys, I was actually watching that game back in my college, Purdue, and I was watching it with my friend. He's a Bengals fan, and I had to apologize to him. I just watched the first half. I had to apologize to him by saying, "Sorry, dude, I wasted an hour." I was feeling so bad that game that the first thing I did is I just took off my Bears shirt. I'm like, you know what? I can't wear this right now. This is just no, can't happen.
I was at the game. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was embarrassing. I'm not wearing Bears apparel until opening day next year at the earliest, and that's maybe being generous if I wear something Bears on that opening day of next year.
And guess what, guys? Next year, we have to play Seahawks. We have to play the Broncos. And I hate to say it, but I can already tell if, regardless of what changes we make, those games could already be the potential losses right there. Because those teams are head and shoulders above us where we are at this point.
Right, and they'll have to play at Seattle because last time they played Seattle was in Chicago.
Yeah, like I said, regardless of what changes we make, it's really hard for me to see Bears winning at Seattle, considering that's the toughest place to play.
Well, and you remember in the preseason they got killed by Seattle. Not that it means anything because it was preseason, but they also got killed there in Seattle too.
Exactly. So either way, the Bears just need to make some fundamental, obvious changes. And if Phil Emery is going to be the GM, and if he's back, I've lost hope. I've lost hope with this ball. I'm sorry. I'm still going to be the Bears. I'm still going to be a Bears fan regardless of what happens. But just hoping that this team will like win the go to the playoffs next year. Just no, not with this GM. Certainly not with this coach, and most certainly not with this team president.
Now, or this coaching staff. I mean, think about how it's kind of funny that before this week, everyone wanted Mark Trestman's head, and it was looking like he was going to stay another year. And then after that game, the McCaskies finally got pissed, and now it looks like Trestman's finally going to get fired. And it's just kind of like it shouldn't have taken this long for you to think that you need to fire this guy. I mean, I read that when the Bears players false start in practice, Mark Trestman doesn't do anything to clean up. He doesn't tell them to take a lap or punish them in any way, which is what you're supposed to do to get them to not do it or take away some playing time, a couple snaps. Mark Trestman just pretends like it doesn't happen. It didn't happen.
Okay, first of all, Mark, does he realize he's a football coach and not like some like I don't know, counselor or anything? Because he needs to coach the football team, like Lamar Houston played in that New England game. He said, "I feel sorry for Lamar." What the hell, man? You're the coach. You say Lamar, you're a freaking idiot. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I mean, and then Phil Emery said it was okay because Lamar Houston apologized to them for it. Is it okay? He had one sack.
It's not. It's one sack in a meaningless game against a backup quarterback. If that game was relatively close, and if you would have sacked Tom Brady and say, okay, they had to force a punt and we have a chance to win that game, okay, that's understandable. But we were getting our asses kicked, we were getting our butts kicked, and it was against a backup quarterback. So it has zero value.
Right, and they're already down by 30 points, and after that sack, New England kicked a field goal.
It's every bad thing has happened to this football team. Anything you can imagine at this point. I mean, Aaron Cromer, well, he's gone. I mean, there's no way he's coming back. There's just no way he's coming back. I mean, that's just...
I'm sure he wants out.
Oh, yeah, he does. He definitely does. I mean, if I'm Aaron Cromer, first thing I'm doing, regardless of whatever happens to the coaching staff, I'm resigning immediately after that Minnesota game. I'm saying I'm done in Chicago. I'll probably go back to New Orleans and, talk to Sean Payton, maybe get my job back, whatever. But whatever happened between Cromer, Cutler, and all that, that's just unacceptable, especially in this time. I mean, we're the laughing stock of NFL. I mean, sure, we could cuss the Jets off, we could curse the Raiders off, we could cuss the Buccaneers off.
They'd all beat the Bears right now. If the Bears' schedule had them playing the Jets at the end of the season instead of the beginning of the season, the Jets would probably clobber the Bears. I mean, Geno Smith would probably go for 400 yards.
Probably, and I will also say this. I mean, the Minnesota game, I'm pretty sure their head coach was wondering, what the hell, what kind of defense schemes will we run? We could easily beat this team, and that's exactly what they're going to do. I mean, that Minnesota game's not going to be a piece of cake. That will be an ugly game probably because, once again, both teams, well, Minnesota's not that great on offense, but nonetheless, I mean, if Minnesota beats us, we'll be the dead last team in NFC North, and that is possibly the worst thing anyone would imagine at this point.
Bob, you got a suggestion for a coach that you'd be interested in the Bears seeing pursue next year?
Sure. I think I have a few names in mind, but again, it really depends. I would probably take a look at Mike Shanahan because Cutler has a connection with him. Same thing with Marshall, and maybe he can do something about it. Because I would say take a look at Shanahan. I would probably look at Rex Ryan because of his defensive background, and not only that, he's a leader. I see a leader in Rex Ryan, a guy who could galvanize this football team. I would interview him for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have also said that Rex Ryan's a good option too. But we'll have to see if he gets let go by the Jets. I'm pretty sure he will be. So, yeah.
Most likely he will. And I mean, again, it's unfortunate what happened to him with Jets. I mean, again, with the Rex Ryan at the helm, the Jets went to the two AFC championship games. I mean, that's pretty good. It's just what has transpired in the last 4 or 5 years with that football team is that's another animal itself. But again, I would seriously consider him, and we need to get a guy who understands not just the offense but also the defense. because we cannot hire one-sided guy. We can't hire